Hello everybody, my name is Elle, and today I'm going to be telling you how I research my books in 1 week. It's Preptober now, so if you are interested in doing NaNoWriMo whatsoever, where you attempt to write an entire book in 1 month, Preptober is an essential part of the process where you are going to plan everything before you actually sit down to write that first draft. You have such limited time in the month of November to get all those words out that you need to prepare, and research is an essential part of that. Whenever I'm sitting down to start a new book, I always have 1 week that I call Research Week, where I am dedicating that to reading books, watching movies, and ultimately coming up with the information that I need so that it doesn't slow me down when I am trying to actually write and outline my novel. And one perk about Research Week is that it will actually give me inspiration for my novel as well. When I'm trying to outline a book and I don't have all the information that I could have, it kind of hinders me in a way, and I want to research and find out more information because I can use that information as inspiration for certain events that may happen in my book. And you may be saying, Elle, why does it take you an entire week just to research things? Can't you just do a quick Google search and you'll be done? And my answer is no, because my research involves a lot of different things. For Research Week, I tend to divide it into 3 different categories: stuff I need to know more about, similar works, and emotional and character info. So yes, I could do quick Google searches for a lot of the things, and I will be doing that, but I'm also going to spend the entire week reading and watching movies and really immersing myself in the general vibe that I'm trying to put into the outline before I go on to write my novel. So to begin, stuff I need to know more about. This is what everybody thinks of when they think of research. If you are talking about a topic that you don't know that much about, or you know that you will need to know more about before actually writing about it, then this is your opportunity to do more research. The key to this, though, is to stay focused. I really recommend, as you are outlining your novel, to just write TKs all throughout the parts that you know you're going to have to research more on. TK is just a little placeholder that you can write out, just capital T, capital K, in your outline or manuscript, meaning that you will come back to it later and fill in more details. When you are outlining, I would recommend finding all the TKs in your outline and just doing a quick Google search to make sure that you've got your facts right about whatever topic you are trying to discuss. If you need to know a lot of information, I highly recommend reading a book over the course of this week about the topic that you want to know more about, because it's going to give you a lot of information in a short period of time, and also it may actually give you ideas, especially if this is a heavy topic that you need to know a lot about. You may not have many ideas of where to take this topic. So make sure not only to take notes on information you feel like could be helpful for your novel, but also information that you feel you could turn into scenes or events that could directly impact the plot. The second portion of Research Week is my personal favorite, and that is to examine similar works. If your novel that you're writing does not have any similar works or anything that has directly influenced or inspired the idea, I think you're lying. Usually when I pitch a book idea to myself, it absolutely has its influences from books and movies that I already love. And during Research Week, this is your opportunity to reread and rewatch those books and movies and examine them as stories. When you're rereading and rewatching them, I want you to take notes on the structure, on the character arcs. Analyze why it works, why you love it, and how you can apply what they are doing to your own story. Consider the elements that really inspire you from these pieces of media and pay attention to those elements when you're rewatching and rereading them. If you want to draw from one of those elements, make sure that you're writing down why it works, what's happening with that, and consider how you want to transition that from this piece of media into your own unique creation. This is the most fun, obviously, because you get to just rewatch and reread your favorite pieces of media that have clearly influenced you heavily enough to want to create something like it. I heavily recommend taking notes on the story structure, especially, where it begins, the inciting incident, the specific story beats, how it ends, everything in the middle. try to lay it out in a 3-act story structure or save the cat or whatever outlining process you prefer and see which beats it hits. You can also analyze the character arcs, how the characters have changed from the beginning to the end. Analyze the message of the film, analyze the events, really dig into it and figure out why you love it so much, what works for you, and what little bits and pieces you may want to take from it. You can also use this as an opportunity to get books and movies off of your respective TBR shelves and watch lists. If you think that a book or a movie is going to have a certain theme or similar element that you'd be into, I would recommend checking it out, watching it, and taking notes. And the last category is to focus on emotional and character information. You may think it's weird that I'm researching this, but if you are writing an extremely introspective book by any means, I recommend listening to audiobooks for self-development novels or really rereading your own journals. I have done both of these for my novels. If I have a specific theme that I want to explore, I will go back and reread my journals from a specific period in my life that I was really feeling this theme and taking notes on what I had to say about it. I also really like self-development books just because they have one for pretty much any topic. So if your book is about forgiveness, you should read them about forgiveness. Or if your book is about coming into your own, coming of age, maybe self-development, you can read about, you know, feeling more comfortable in your own skin. They have a self-development book for everything, and you can do research on if you're struggling to have a complete character arc, if you want your character to start really self-conscious in the beginning and then be fully confident in the end. I think it's important that you know how they're going to get there. This is also the time, if your characters are based on anybody, it's time to take notes on that somebody. Whether it be a fictional character, a real-life historical figure, a mythological character, a celebrity, a friend even. I think it's time that you take notes on these types of people, their archetypes, what their general personalities are, and take notes so you can base your characters off of them. And that is the contents of my research week. It is a lot of reading books and watching movies and taking a lot of notes. I recommend getting a full notebook and writing down every single thing you possibly can, organizing it later, and possibly creating a research cheat sheet later that will just tell you where you want to apply all of this research to. So for example, if you're basing a character off of, you know, mythology, I would recommend doing your research on that mythology and then saying in your research cheat sheet that the mythology research is specifically for that character, maybe connected to their character profile as well. So yes, best of luck to all of you who are attempting NaNoWriMo, and if you're not, then best of luck to you on research. I know it's often a dreaded topic for authors, especially authors who just want to write and they don't want to research, but it is so important to make sure that you have all of your outline in order and you're not going to have any major plot holes because you didn't do the research on scientific facts, historical facts, legal facts, anything like that. You want to avoid plot holes ahead of time. So it's just an important step, and think of it more as fun than anything. You really get to explore the influences and why you love this book so much. Anyway, Godspeed on all of your research and NaNoWriMo, and I will see you all in my next video. All right, bye!